The Hobbit, The Desolation of Benedict Cumberbatch. My name is Khan. That's my Benedict Cumberbatch impression. So anyway, The Hobbit, The Desolation of Smaug, no matter how I say it, somebody will correct me. I'm sorry for my incompetence as a human being. I just say Smaug. Is that correct? Just don't correct me if it's wrong. Forgive me, Mr. Tolkien, for I'm not worthy of the Hobbit! Okay, so The Hobbit, The Desolation of Smaug is the second in Peter Jackson's Hobbit trilogy, which was originally supposed to be 2 movies based on 1 book. But you know what? I can understand. They want more money. They're going to stretch it out into 3 parts. And from a fan point of view, I can understand. It's like, yeah, you know, I love the characters. I love the adventure. I love Middle-earth. Just give me more of that. So the first thing I want to talk about, is this movie better than Hobbit, An Unexpected Journey, the first movie in this trilogy? And I would say, yeah, this movie's definitely a stronger movie all the way around. The pacing and momentum of this movie was definitely an improvement over the first one. And it's not to say that anything felt rushed. I mean, they definitely flushed out all the storylines. Characters got their moments. They explained everything. They didn't rush through anything. They took their time when they had to, but it just didn't feel dreadful to watch certain scenes. Like in the first movie, there was a few scenes that just went on a little bit too long, and as a viewer, I was like, okay, we can go on. We get it. You explained it. Let's go to the next thing. Okay, yes, we like Bilbo's house. How long are we gonna stay here? Let's get on the road! It's almost like Peter Jackson took some criticism from the first movie, and he's like, yeah, you're right, maybe we can tighten this up just a little bit here and there. And it's not to say that this movie was cut short by any means. I mean, this movie's, what, 2 hours and 40 minutes long? But I really enjoyed this movie much more than the first one because it just felt like you kept going. Now, after I watched this movie, I did a little bit of research on some of the differences between the book and the movies, and there's quite a few of them. Now, one character that's in this movie that doesn't make an appearance in the Hobbit book is Legolas, aka Orlando Bloom, being a badass elf with a bow and arrow. And even though he wasn't in the book, I'm kind of glad they threw him in the movie because he definitely adds that cool badass action element. He's jumping around, shooting his arrows, kicking a lot of ass. And here's my standpoint on this. If his character doesn't impact the main story of the movie, you know, what the dwarves and Bilbo are trying to do, then why not just throw him in there for another tie-in with Lord of the Rings? And another character that they added to the movie that wasn't in the books was this really hot elf chick right here. I don't remember her name, but she is a hot elf chick. And I never thought I'd say that sentence, but now I stand by it stronger than ever. And you know what? She's kind of in this love triangle throughout the movie. And, you know, typical Hollywood formula, you gotta have at least some kind of love story going on in every big movie. So did it really bother me? No. Did it really add anything to the movie? That's debatable. Without it, the movie could have probably been 20-25 minutes shorter, but it didn't bother me. I wasn't bored by it. I liked her character. She was fun to look at. Now, in the last Hobbit movie, the main focus point, the main character was Bilbo Baggins. And this time around, is he still the main character? I would say technically yes, but they definitely didn't devote as much screen time to him this time around as they did last time. And, you know, I'm okay with that because we got enough of what we needed. His character develops. But this time around, they kind of split up the screen time a little bit more evenly. And once again, the theme of this video is pacing. And by doing that, you kind of feel like the movie just keeps going and progressing, and you don't feel like you're in this static standstill. Now, this is a fantasy adventure film, and what else should come along with that? Epic action. Now, 2 action sequences that really stand out. The first one was the water barrel scene, which was really cool. And, you know, the camera was moving all around. You had these characters, there's action, Legolas was kicking a lot of ass. But I will say there's one thing I noticed about the scene, and you have these big grand shots that look like they're filmed with professional cameras, and then you have these quick little snippets. It was like these point of view shots of the characters, but it looked like it was filmed with like a GoPro camera. Like the quality in these quick little snippets definitely downgraded. It looked like a home video camera for quick little cuts. And I was just like, it kind of stood out as a sore thumb throughout the sequence. Yeah, it looked like they were using GoPro cameras. If anybody else knows what I'm talking about, let me know down below if you noticed it too. But one of the coolest, most epic action sequences in this movie deals with Smaug, the dragon. And every time I've seen this fire-breathing dragon on the screen, which, by the way, I would say some of the best CGI in this movie, they definitely devoted to the dragon because it was photorealistic, it looked really neat. Some of the other things in the movie looked a little bit overly stylistic, fakey-ish, CGI-ish, but I would say the dragon was definitely the strongest CGI element of the entire movie. And every time I seen this that's my dragon claws, I'm gonna put those down, but every time I seen this dragon on screen, I was just blown away by it. You know, my eyes were glued to the screen. And by the way, every time I seen these mountains of gold coins, the first thought that went through my head wasn't about the dragon, but it was about Scrooge McDuck doing like a nosedive into the coins and swimming around. So my final thoughts on The Hobbit, The Desolation of Smaug, definitely a vast improvement over the first movie. And I'm not just saying because this movie might have had more action that takes place in the story, just because the story, the editing, the pacing, everything kind of came together a little bit better this time around, and as a viewer, I enjoyed watching it much more. So I'm going to give this movie an A-. That was my elbow drop. What'd you think about it? So that's my take on this movie. Let me know what yours is down below in the comments. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys next time.